Hi friends! Welcome back to another video. If we have not met yet, I'm Andrea from Minimal Homestead, and I make videos about homesteading, home building, parenting, minimalism, and RV life. And if you're interested in any of that, hit the subscribe button down below to get notified on our upcoming videos. So in today's video, I just want to give you guys a quick update about where we are in our house builds and some new exciting things that have started to happen for us. Then I also want to talk about the first steps that we've taken so far starting our metal home. So you might be wondering why we chose to build a metal home. One, it's cheaper, and two, it's sturdier. For us in our build, it cost us with 2 weld up porches that are pretty big, 1 carport that's a weld up, and 2 bolt together structures, one being 1,200 square feet, one being 1,800 square feet. The cost of that, including delivery, was about $33,000. Of course, other things come along like your insulation and your framing and your floors and different things like that. And all of that costs money too. But the whole outside of our house was pretty minimal. We love the look of it. We don't have to have walls. It can be completely open if we chose. We'll have walls in the bathrooms and bedrooms, of course, but the whole dining, living room, kitchen is going to be completely open, and we loved that idea. So this is something that is sustainable. This is something that is going to last a long time. This is something that is going to look great. And this is something that we can put together and we can build ourselves. Just a few reasons why we chose to do a metal home instead of a traditional home. If you haven't seen it yet, I will link below our debt-free journey so you can kind of get an update and be on the same page of kind of our backstory of where we've come from and what we're doing now. So currently we're living in an RV and we're trying to build our house, cash flow our house debt-free. So the steps we've already accomplished so far, we drew up plans, we had a plan, we hired an architect and got official plans. We talked to a metal home provider. We used Mueller. We've hired a concrete contractor, and that's where we're at right now. We're almost done with our concrete. Yay! So that's so exciting that we're finally getting started and have broken ground. We have a 1,200 square foot shop that has ready to go with concrete. Our metal for that building has been delivered, and the concrete is done and the plumbing is done for our house. That won't be delivered till September, and the last part is our little carport, and then they're done. So that's super exciting. My husband's gonna be able to start soon on erecting the shop, his shop. I know he's super excited about that. To get to here, we started back in January of 2019, and we already had plans drawn up that my husband had drawn up himself. We already had an idea and a layout. So we met with an architect and hired an architect, and we met with him a few times. It took 4 months that we were not expecting for it to take that long. So that was the first step. So it definitely, everything so far has taken much longer than we anticipated, which I guess is just a lesson learned. That is my first tip, is that start right now. Like, start with your plans, have an idea of what you want. The more basic your house is, the less it's going to cost you for your architect. My second tip is do your research on your architects. We called around a lot and had several people, because it was building season, just refused to even help us. They were just too busy. We finally found somebody that would help us, and it took them 4 months to do it. So definitely do your research with that and get recommendations. We had Mueller recommend an architect who could actually help us, and that's who we ended up going with. But know that it does take longer. Everything takes so much longer. Even if they quote you 2 weeks or a month, it takes so much longer a lot of the times, in our experience so far. That cost us about $1,800, just so you can get an idea. And the third tip is research who you're going to use for your metal. Look at reviews and who is closer in proximity, because you have to pay for them to drop off your metal. We chose Mueller because of the proximity to our house. It was only 15 minutes away, and I'm glad that we did, because the back and forth and how many times we went and did things and picked up something or had to meet with someone, it was nice that we weren't traveling over an hour or more to meet with them. Our house is considered a custom build, and even though it's a bolt up and our shop is like a very generic. So the shop went really fast and it got delivered within 4 weeks of ordering it. We were able to print the plans right away, and the house took a lot longer just because it was a custom build and it went through a lot of different processes and people. More questions needed to be answered. There was a lot of back and forth with Mueller about, we need to know this before we can move forward. We need to know this. So every time we would come expecting that today's the day that we put down our 25% on our house, but it wouldn't be that way. So they always needed different information. It was a long process. Not to say that that was their fault, but we also really didn't know exactly what we needed. So we finally were able to order our buildings. The shop went fast and the house did take a lot longer. The house is finally ordered. The metal for our house is expected to take about 8 to 10 weeks. So that should be in here sometime in September, and we can start on that then. My fourth recommendation is to, once again, research your contractors for your concrete. We had the same dilemma with being in building season. My husband sent out 15 different emails and no one could help us. They were too busy. And we finally found a smaller company to help us, and they do the full build usually, but they were able to help us with just our concrete. And their drive was pretty substantial because there's so many people in the area that are building, and those services with building season is just crazy for them. So we definitely had a hard time getting someone to just reply back to us and give us a quote. Depending on where you're at and with your zoning and your county, you might have to have some steps that we didn't need to have. So look into your codes with your county and just see if there's any other hoops that you need to jump through before you start building. Another thing that you might want to look into beforehand is getting your land zones for residential, because we're building on agricultural land right now. So that is a step that we are about to take. But most people have to take that step before they start the concrete. But because we are in a family situation, family dynamic, we're able to kind of wait on that step. So it definitely depends on your situation and where you're building at. We were quoted about $1,800 to rezone our land, but that is because of our situation and where we're located. So definitely check into that. Those are some steps that you might also want to consider. Basically, that's where we're at. I can't wait for you to come along with us and see everything. We're super excited to get these buildings up. I'd love to hear your thoughts about our build. I'd love to hear where you're at in your journey. Leave me a comment below. I'll keep you updated on the process of our house, and I'll see you in the next video. You guys, I'm sweating. It's hot. I gotta turn my AC off to make these videos. It's hot. Whoo! It's the hottest day so far this year. Today is. It's hot.